Why? While my tank filled, the warmth on my back spread to my neck, causing the hairs there to stand on end. When, finally, the car door slammed, I inhaled sharply. Fumes burned my nose. I heard the shuffle of feet on concrete and a soft whispering. They had gotten out of their car. I glanced over my shoulder, toward the couple in the matching hats who for some reason didn't like me. After a moment, the man had returned to the car, but the woman stood staring, one hand in her pocket, the other wrapped around her phone. I studied her face. Briefly, I considered whether I did indeed know this woman. Perhaps I had given her child a failing grade? Was she the new neighbor I had yet to meet, upset that my lemon tree blocked the sun she needed to grow her tomatoes? But the intensity of her gaze suggested something more than an F in middle school math or withered vegetables. I squared my shoulders and called to her, "Do I know you?" The woman scowled, as if the question offended her. She retreated to stand near her car's rear bumper and began pumping her own gas. Every 30 seconds or so, her glance darted in my direction. I wiped the sweat from my neck and swore under my breath. What was wrong with me? It had been years since I had been this jumpy. But maybe it wasn't just the strangers who unnerved me. Maybe the idea of meeting Mark left me more anxious than I had originally realized. That morning on the phone, Mark had been calm enough. "We need to talk about Izzy." But those words always set me on edge. "Is everything okay?" I'd asked. "I just need some advice." In the moment, I had allowed myself to believe it might be about a ring. My parents and I knew Mark was on the verge of proposing. Or maybe he and Izzy had fought. He often joked that I was an Izzy whisperer, the only one who could make sense of her complicated moods. I doubted that was true anymore. Not after what had happened. Years later, I could still feel her breath, hot and sour on my face, on that last night she had really trusted me. The nozzle clicked, snapping me out of my memories. I didn't want to linger with them anyway. I replaced the nozzle in its holder and grabbed my purse. Even before Mark had called, it hadn't been the smoothest of mornings. I had misplaced my keys, and I'd had to add water to the milk so there would be enough for Julian's Cheerios. The banana I had intended to eat had gone brown, and I was late dropping Julian off at preschool. Later I would hit the grocery store, but for now I needed something quick and plastic-wrapped to get me through the morning. Before heading into the convenience store, I glanced again toward the strangers in the Giants' hats. They both stood next to the pump, though they seemed more interested in my truck's bumper than filling their tank. I shook off my disquiet. I'd spent too much time thinking about the past that morning. That's all. Even Julian had felt it, eating his cereal in silence. Rare for any 4-year-old, but especially for Julian. The door to the store was propped open with an orange construction cone. Already, artificially cooled air blasted across the threshold. Inside, snacks were loaded on shelves and carousels, beer and energy drinks stacked along walls and in refrigerated cases, a counter dedicated to dark roast carafes and a cappuccino machine. I grabbed a bottle of water and a cranberry orange muffin and headed to the register. "Hey, Frankie," the cashier greeted me. "Morning, Lucy." Near the register, rubber bugs, green centipedes, black spiders, yellow bees, were piled in a basket in colorful heaps. Julian had recently developed a fascination with bugs, whether it be the roly-polies he hunted in our backyard or the spider that spun its webs in the corner of our living room. I grabbed a centipede and placed it on the counter next to the water and muffin. Lucy smiled. "Julian'll love that." I returned the smile, but my stomach churned. Too many times I'd ignored my instincts. That hadn't gone well. So as Lucy scanned the items, I glanced out the window toward the couple. My shoulders tensed. The woman had taken a few steps closer to my truck, her head bowed. What was she staring at? When Lucy looked up, I gestured toward the couple. "Do you know those two?" She nodded. "Sure. The man's Bill, I think. Or Phil? His wife's Amy."